Hey, Shalom, it's your brother Yawanathan. First and foremost, want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity, all right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. Today, I watched a documentary while I was at work. I want to share it with you guys and using it as an example to prove that Antichrists are molded in Eve's educational system. The vibration, the way things are taught, the way things are examined, um, pushes you in the direction of white supremacy and molds you to think or put the Most High in a box or to even question his existence. Okay, so let's continue on with the documentary. We're going to start here. It's about 6 minutes, and we'll just kind of go from here, and we'll bring out the precepts along and make corrections when needed. All right, let's get
the objective. And here he sends 2 spies into the city of Jericho to check out its defenses and to see what else is going on. He's taking this army into Canaan for the first time. The one thing he can't avoid is a defeat or a colossal screw-up. He wants to make sure that this becomes a military.
So we're going into the military expeditions during Joshua's time, and once again, excuse the false images. People say the false, the Canaanites nor the Israelites, neither one of them look like Edomites. Okay, well, why is that important? The same reason the image of the Messiah is important. You have billions of people, the Israelites, scattered all over the world, who, when they pray, they see that image of Cesare Borgia, that false image, which brings forth what? Self-hatred, and again pushes you towards white supremacy. And it comes with a whole vibration that is against the actual will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So it has to be addressed and it has to be peeled back for the healing of those people, because that image and these images are used to destroy and to mentally corrupt our people. So for the healing's sake and for the truth's sake, because truly they didn't look like that, but on a deeper level, these things have to be addressed so these people can be healed. All right, and through the men of the Lord, this information has been brought out, man, and it's been put in, and an emphasis has been put on it. You see? All right, so let's continue on with the clip.
Success. The spies sneak inside Jericho and head to a brothel. A cunning decision. Choice of an inn or house of prostitution is absolutely brilliant. This is a small city. Strangers would immediately be recognized. The only place they could, if not hide, but have a good excuse for being there would be in a house of prostitution. That's also where tongues wag a lot. And a lot of loose gossip could be picked up about troop dispositions, morale, etc. They find a prostitute willing to help them. Her name is Rahab.
Rahab tells the Israelite spies about the conditions in Jericho. And what's very clear is that the morale of the people is shot. The tales of great slaughter during the Jordanian campaign have reached their ears. So they're literally scared to death that they're going to be attacked.
All right, and that's in Joshua 2. Let's actually just read it really quick. We'll start here at 9. This is what Rahab told them. She said, and she said unto this is Joshua 2 and 9. It says, and she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard of how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, which literally happened, okay, when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. As soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man, because they knew that the Lord was with these people. This wasn't a fight according to brawn per se. These people had a divine power behind them that couldn't be matched by mere mortals. And that's going to play out once more, man, upon the return of our Lord. You go to Second Ezra, the 16th chapter, man. It talks about, you know, how in one fell swoop, the Lord blasts that concentrated fire from the chariots, man. All the armies of the nations are going to be utterly destroyed. So we're dealing with a power that is far above a man's reach. But what Esau likes to do is if he's reading it and he tries to make excuses or spin it or try to be like, well, maybe this is what actually happened. No, the scriptures say what they say. The Lord did these magnificent things. And when you go into Esau's fool system and this kind of thinking is pressed upon you, it causes you to be anti-Messiah, pushes you towards white supremacy, and it taints your faith. So somebody that truly wants to believe that their faith has now been tainted because they've just been bombarded with the questioning of the Lord's strength, the questioning of the Lord's might. All right. Continuing on here in verse 11, it says, as soon as they heard these things, our hearts didn't melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. All right, and we'll get into the rest of this here shortly, because we're gonna need 12 on down when they make their BS point coming up here soon. Continue on with the documentary.
The Bible states that Rahab lives in between the parallel walls.
Now, this is important because, as we'll see, there are some who believe that the location of Rahab's house is the key to how the Battle of Jericho went down.
It's now dark, and the Israelite spies are prepared to leave Jericho and to return to Joshua with their intelligence report. But their cover is blown. The king of Jericho's intelligence service picks up the fact that the Israelite spies are in the city and track them to Rahab's apartment and go to Rahab and demand she turn over the Israelite spies. According to the Bible, Rahab covers for the Israelites. It is true, she said. The men did come to me, but I didn't know where they were from. And at dark, when the gate was about to be closed.
All right, let's read it in the KJV here. All right, let's read it in the KJV. Picking back up at verse 12, like we were, it says, now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have shewed you kindness, because she hid the men. All right, she hid them, and the guards came looking. She said, well, I don't know where they went. They went this way. She got them, to flee her house, and they bought it. They bought her story. Now this was her bargain. Okay. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me. And a lot of apologists, they'll take this instance that Rahab and her house was spared as the fact that, oh well, look, here's an example of Israelite. I mean, not Israelite foreigner, but here's an example of a heathen being saved. No, she was shown mercy. The Lord can show mercy on whom He will show mercy. They're going to be slaves, that don't have it as bad as others in the kingdom. That's just what it is. Esau's going to have the worst. Now, regardless of her being spared in this instance, she's still, subject. When they were conquered, she was still subject to the nation. The reaching, the reaching that goes on, man. The apologists will go through. Man, I can name like 10 people off of my head that they've done some spectacular reaches. They would definitely be on the all-star team. They would have definitely made the all-star team if it was a reaching competition. All right, so verse 13. Oh, we're in the middle of 12 actually. It says, "Shew you kindness, that you will also shew kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token." All right, so she's pleading for for the mercies. I helped you guys not get caught. I know the Lord is giving you the land anyway. There's nothing that anybody could do about it. Your power, He's the one true power, and His will is going to stand. Okay, just please spare me. That's a woman, she knows how to survive, huh? All right, Joshua 2:13. It says, "And that ye will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death." Okay, continuing on in verse 14 here, put it on the screen. It says, "And the men answered her, Our lives for yours, if ye utter not this our business. And it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee." All right, and they gave her instructions on how to be spared. Now, this is important. I'm going to actually let the video play once more, and then once they make up their BS, because there was something that throughout the documentary that kind of it rubbed me the wrong way. And after they make their statement, we'll actually read what it says, and we'll go to Actually, we're gonna read this, and then when they make their statement, we'll go to Joshua 6. Okay, this is Joshua 2:15. Then she let them down by a cord through the window. So she lived upon the gates of the city. They showed you an image. You can rewind it if need be. They showed you actually yeah you can rewind it if need be to see the parallel walls where they say she was positioned, and so how this was possible, right? And it came to pass at the seventh time, when the priest blew, nope, Salaki, that's Joshua 6. But here, Joshua 2:15. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, Get ye to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days until the pursuers be returned, and afterward may ye go your way. And the men said unto her, We will be blameless of this thine oath, which thou hast made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread in the window which thou didst let us down by. Right, that cord. And she needs to wrap scarlet around it. All right. A common, a symbol that they will recognize, much like the blood of the lamb in the Passover, the first Passover, when the Lord passed over the Israelites in the land of Egypt, when they had the blood of the lamb over their doorposts, and he killed the firstborns of all the Egyptians and those who did not have the blood of the lamb above the doorposts. So a sign, so they could recognize. And thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all the father's household home unto thee. So be in this house, let us have this cord, so we can recognize, okay, this isn't a place we touch. Touch not this house. All right. Pass over this house. You see? All right. Verse 19, and it shall be that whosoever shall go out of the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head. Like, hey, I told you, don't come out the house, have this cord, so people recognize if any of your family is outside the house, we're not guilty. That we gave you the instruction, we're not guilty if they step outside the house. It says, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be upon our head, if any hand be upon him. Right? So they made an oath with her. All right, so let's go back to the documentary here. Continuing on.
The men left, and I don't know where the men went. Quick, go after them, for you can overtake them.
And apparently, they're happy with this explanation. One assumes they might have done a search, but given Rahab's profession, she was probably pretty persuasive. So, where were the spies? Well, the Bible tells us she actually hid them on the roof.
Now, under the cover of darkness, the spies must escape the city and return to Joshua.
But before they go, they say to Rahab, because you have helped us, when the attack comes to the city, we want you and your family to be spared. So in order that we know that this is your house, take a red cord, tie it to the window, and no harm will come to you or your family.
Rahab ties the red cord in the window, and the spies slide down the rope on the outside of the wall. Men report to Joshua with important intelligence. Jericho's small population is terrified and therefore vulnerable. The information gives Joshua the confidence that now is the time to attack the city. Joshua leads his army across the Jordan River toward Jericho.
This is a big army. Our estimate are to 9,000 men, one of the largest armies that's ever been put to the field in Canaan.
Inside the walls, the citizens of Jericho were terrified. Here comes the army they've heard about that has just slaughtered their way through the Jordan Valley.
Jericho is a small city, only about 8 acres, roughly the size of 8 football fields.
To estimate the population of ancient Jericho, based on the rough benchmark historians use of about 240 inhabitants per urban acre times about 8.5 acres, you arrive at a population of about 2,500, somewhere in there, about 20%, which can be mustered to defend the city.
The perimeter walls are almost a mile in circumference. So you have an army outside of 8,000 to 9,000 men surrounding a city that can mount no more than 500 defenders on the walls. That's about 1 every 3 meters. The Israelite army could encircle Jericho, one with a man 1 meter apart, 6 men deep. But this huge army doesn't attack. For 6 days, Joshua marches his men around Jericho. The biblical description of the plan seems on the face of it absurd. According to the Bible, Yahweh says to
Seems absurd. Man, the Lord gives us instruction, and it's above our comprehension. His ways are higher than our ways, like it says in Isaiah. And the name is Yahweh. Okay? The name is Yahweh.
Joshua, you shall march around the city for 6 days. According to the Bible, on the 7th day, the Israelites are supposed to blow their shofars, or battle horns. And the walls shall come tumbling down. And everyone knows the old song of Joshua at the Battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. Joshua commanded the people, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city." At the sound of the trumpet, when the people gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed, so every man charged straight in, and they took the city.
Now, when you go to Joshua 6, let's read it here. Joshua 6 and 16 says, "And it came to pass the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord hath given you the city. And the city shall be accursed, even it, and all that are therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in her house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed. When ye take the accursed thing, make the camp of Israel a curse and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto the Lord. They all come into the treasury of the Lord." Now, the point I want to hear, and this will be important for a lesson I do another day. I continue on in this, but I might continue because they made a mistake. You know, when you read this, and they made another excuse to rationalize why particular things happen. So that'll be, I'll go back to that precept for the next lesson. Verse 20 here, the point I wanted. "So the people shouted when the priests blew with the trumpets. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat." It says the wall fell down flat. All right. So remember, keep this in mind as they begin to go on with their explanation of what happened. The wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city.
The walls fall down, and Jericho's defenses crumble. Is it a miracle? Or is there another explanation? The walls of Jericho come tumbling down. Joshua and the Israelites have their first victory in Canaan.
But there's got to be a more pragmatic military explanation, and I think the Bible actually reveals it if you know where to look. And the secret is Rahab the prostitute.
Remember how the Israelite spies got out of Rahab's apartment? She let them down on a rope that she had. They also told her to tie a red cord to the windowsill. And the reason for that, ostensibly, was that the Israelite army would know that this was her apartment and no harm would come to her.
But once inside the city walls, the Israelite soldiers obviously won't be able to see a marker visible only from the outside.
So now you have to ask, what is a red cord signifying hanging from a window 2 or 3 stories up the wall? And I think that's the answer to how the walls came tumbling down.
The red cord may be a signal, but if the story is looked at from a military perspective, a completely different motivation becomes apparent.
What if the red cord is not there to say, hey, don't attack us? What if it's an invitation up? Who's to say that Rahab doesn't lower the same rope out the window that the spies used to climb down? But now Israelite soldiers are climbing up it.
The Israelite army creates the perfect cover for these soldiers by marching around the city perimeter and loudly blowing their battle horns.
When the noise was going on, it would have been a simple task to take 8, 10, 12 guys at a time and climb up the rope using the red cord as an indicator of where.
Would not the scriptures say that? Would not the scriptures say it that way? If that was the case, scriptures say the walls fell down flat. Okay, right here, they make it. This is how, if somebody's going to a school, a cemetery school, as Apostle Tahar calls it, their faith will be tainted. The Lord didn't do something of that magnitude, tearing the city's walls down. Actually, what really happened was Rahab let down the rope, and they lit up soldiers at a time throughout the week. And on the 7th day, there were enough soldiers inside of the town to where they could open the gates. It doesn't say that. We got to go with what the word says. See, this is where you step into the territory of no light being, because you got to speak according to the word. You can't add. You can't say, well, maybe. No. What does the word say? Whenever we bring out something, whenever the Lord has His men bring out something, we prove it using the scriptures. We might even go into the meaning of words for you to get a deeper understanding. But this shit is just a reach. It's just a reach.
Her apartment was, and hide in her apartment or on the roof. For 6 days, 10 men at a time, give or take, at 50, 60 special ops guys are now inside the wall.
On the 7th day, the army is still marching around the city.
So, yeah,
Joshua gives.
Like I said, I really do enjoy watching, the historical documentaries and things like such. But they go off so much, man. It's just like, man, it's good for particular things to get a visual. It could enhance your vision as you're reading, to imagine what was taking place, because you want to visualize when you read. But yeah, they go off so goddamn much, and they be reaching. Oh, they reach. So I figured I'd share that with you guys, since I watched it earlier today while I was at work. Well, I didn't really physically watch it. I just had the audio playing. And yeah, man. The educational system, the whole train of thought that Esau pushes, or in school system and in cemetery schools, just in the world in general, it can cause someone to be anti-Messiah. It taints your faith, and that's what's going to be tested for us in the days to come. Our faith. This is a faithless world, man. It causes you to question even the very existence of the Most High when it's plain to see. So with that being said, man, I want to give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. I want to give them honest apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say shalom to all the brothers, and of course the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.